Welcome to the Saturday Night Live Afterparty. This week, we'll be discussing Season 46, Episode 17 of SNL with host Carey Mulligan and musical guest Kid Cudi. I'm Catherine Coleman, and I'm joined this week by Steve Finn and UK-based filmmaker and actress Maria Webb. You can follow Maria on Instagram at __Maria_makes__. And you can connect with us at snlpodcast.com. Enjoy these selected highlights from this week's discussion. And if you'd like to watch our full-length, ad-free sketch-by-sketch review, you can find it exclusively on Patreon and Subscribestar/SNL Podcast. It's our supporters that make this show possible, and we are so thankful to everyone who's already come on board. All right, here we go. Hello, everyone. We're here ready to review first-time host Carey Mulligan. Let's talk about our guest today first, Maria Webb. Welcome, Maria. How are you?
Hello, I'm very well, thank you.
We are so excited to have you here, and just thrilled. I know you're a big fan of the show, and of both SNL and our show, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, so I know Maria through our Quiet Creator group, which is sort of just like a coaching group for young creatives and entrepreneurs. And she is a brilliant filmmaker based in the UK, like I said. But somewhere in there, Maria, you're going to have to enlighten us on what exact credibility you have to critique the institution of SNL.
Yeah.
Not to gatekeeper.
I know, and I've been thinking about this question because I know that you ask it of your guests, and I've never watched Saturday Night Live as a show, so I've never watched it on TV. You can't even watch the YouTube channel in New Zealand, which is where I grew up. So you can't access the YouTube channel there,
Right.
and but you can in the UK. So I watch it. The way I watch it is on YouTube. The way I came to know about it was just through really random sketches that I'd see here and there.
Mhm.
And then I saw Bridesmaids. And then I
Ah.
realized that these actors in Bridesmaids started on Saturday Night Live.
Mhm.
And they were in some of my favorite sketches. So I loved Kristen Wiig and Maya Rudolph, and loved the Beauty and the Beast sketches, and yeah, and so that's kind of it started a little bit different for me. It was YouTube videos.
Right.
I kind of feel bad saying it that way,
No.
but that's sort of how it started.
In a way, that requires more dedication. Because, like,
Yeah.
in the US, it's like this like cultural thing that people will talk about on Monday morning, right? But in the UK, from what I understand, some people watch it, but for the most part, like, you have to really want to watch it to know about SNL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost like Stockholm syndrome for us, where we have no choice. It's everywhere we turn. You're making a conscious effort to tune in. And yeah, that's obviously a big fan right there who would do that.
You're probably going to have a lot to say about performances, right? Because I think you studied acting, right? And you have kind of an improv background as well.
Yeah, it's definitely if I watch anything, then I'm very engaged with the performance side of it, and those are the things that stand out to me.
Very good. Well, I think we have some pretty standout performances tonight that I'm sure you'll give us some great insight into. So,
Great timing to have you.
without further ado, let's get into the show. A new IBS medicine only helps if you take it before you light up the turlet. Steve, did this one win?
Absolutely. It's just so cringeworthy and really hard not to kind of empathize with with our hero in this sketch.
Who's the hero,
I think-
though? Is it Carey or is it Keenan?
That's what makes it such a brilliant sketch, because we could argue about who the real hero is. But yeah, I mean, I love having Carey on the show because you know, imagine pitching this sketch to like Donald Trump or Paris Hilton or other people they've had on the show that probably are too proud to be associated with something like that. Let
Right.
alone play a character who has just sprayed a bathroom, basically. So, she agreed to that. She went out and shot that sketch and was gung-ho enough to laugh at herself a little bit and not be too tied up with how she'd be perceived after the show and all that. I just love that she kind of, had a self-deprecating moment.
Mhm. Yeah. Maria, what'd you think?
Yeah, the first time I watched it, I thought I'd missed the joke. To be honest. Like, I thought there's no way that could. I actually thought they were going to go in the bathroom and something else would have happened in there, and I think I was just a bit. Yeah, I didn't. To be honest, the first time I watched it, I didn't like it. I just thought, just because I know some people with IBS and it's just horrible for them, and I just couldn't laugh. But then the second time I watched it, and I saw Bryant's like reaction when she opened the door, and I was just like rewinding it and just watching her jump back. I was like, that was, oh my gosh. And then again, just I was like, okay, take yourself out of that position where you're thinking of your friends and, and what they've been through. And watching it from the performative side was excellent. Like, Keenan was just so funny. And Carey Mulligan was really, she just delivered all of her lines really well. And so from that aspect, I thought it was done really well.
If it makes you feel any better, obviously my mother can't speak for everyone with IBS, but she did really enjoy it, so she didn't take any offense.
Yeah, that just made me feel better, actually.
I think sometimes you just gotta laugh about it, and a little bit of turlet humor is okay with me. I really, really loved it. I mean, 80 and Keenan, my God. I mean, just sold the hell out of it. Their reactions, like you said, were so amazing. Like, I could just watch that on a loop. And then what's great about this is it starts and you immediately can tell by the tone of Heidi's voice, like, oh, it's a drug commercial parody. And you know, and she goes to the bathroom and you're like, okay, what's it gonna be? Is it gonna be she's gonna take this pill, but it's gonna make it worse? And if you watch a lot of sketch, especially, you start to kind of know the likely things it's gonna take. But this surprised me. So, you know, we go back and I see Keenan just walk across the background and I'm like, what's this? And then it takes this turn that I did not expect. And I was just howling. And when he said, you lit up the turlet, me and my friends all laughed so hard like we missed the next 4 lines. Yeah. I mean, that was fantastic.
But it's so astute, right? Because like those commercials, they act like once you learn about the existence of the medicine, then your problem's already fixed.
Right.
Like, it's like, what's wrong? Oh, I just crap my pants. Well, did you know there's no crap your pants stuff? Oh my God, my problem's fixed. Like, he's not.
The poop's not in my pants anymore.
Yeah, it's like, it just disappeared.
I'm writing this sketch.
Like, you still gotta, look to the future where you start taking that and you feel better.
Right.
So the fact that the damage has been done in the sketch. And yeah, she's got her new medication, which is going to be great going forward, but she's going to have to live in the moment with what she did for the time being.
Mm-hmm.
So good.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's just stupid poop jokes, but it's fantastic poop jokes. So I loved it. All right. Well, I think that was ultimately a big win. Took Maria a couple times, but that's all right. Let's keep going. A young boy calls his friend when things get heated with his study buddy. Steve, since you were once a teenage boy, we'll let you speak to this first.
I loved being a teenage boy so much, I went and got braces again. Second time Brace's owner, and it was great to see some representation from 80, who, along with Kate, both played scarily accurate teenage boys. Especially one that's maybe a little bit more sheltered, maybe into the book learning, and not so much the footballing. They really captured the high school nerd, but not in a way that makes fun of them, but like it's definitely comes from a place who understands these people, and like just the whole navigating that other gender, like the whole courting women at that age, all that awkwardness and everything that I remember anyway from that point in my life, that was all there.
Maria, what did you like about this one?
This was my favorite sketch of the night. Kate McKinnon and Aidy Bryant, when they're together, are my favorite duo on the show. I just think they play off each other so well. The way Kate McKinnon moved as a teenage boy was amazing. It kind of brought back the My Calvin sketch that
the
she did.
Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
My pee-pee's in there.
The way that she was sitting, that she sat down, slouched down into the couch. It was just it was so perfectly done. It was making me think of the young boys from Stranger Things. It was kind of bringing back that kind of era for me. But I also just loved as well how everything was working.
Right.
Where it usually wouldn't. The line about the jellyfish, which, by the way, is a great kind of pickup line. One species of jellyfish is immortal.
Yeah, I need to know more.
That is awesome. Wow. Exactly. Which species? Have you seen it? This type of thing. Tell me more.
Thanks for telling me that.
Yeah. I just really loved it. But also just seeing the kind of friendship between these two young boys, and how they had each other's backs and things like that, and phoning up your friend. It was such a sweet kind of moment too. It felt like such a wholesome sketch. And then having Kate McKinnon play the young guy was just perfect. It was like the cherry on top.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think about how much this sketch would work if it was not shot the way it was. Like if it wasn't a multi-camera live sketch and something more cinematic, then you wouldn't be able to get away with as much. Like the fact that Kate's leading away and she's only like a couple of feet away from Carey, like none of us are saying, hey, you should clearly hear everything they're saying.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's saying that because like our in a live sketch, we kind of we're much more forgiving. Like
right.
if this was like filmed cinematically, we'd probably expect like him to like run into another room and shut a door. Then you waste all that time setting that up. So like a live sketch where it feels like a pretend land, and you have a much easier time suspending your disbelief. You can make it a sketch like this. So
the little details in this were so perfectly captured, and that's like what Anna Dresden and Allison Gates wrote it, and it's what they do best. Like they just find every little weird thing about a situation and can put it in there. Like, I'm on a Papazon for 2 is such a funny line. Like there was no reason they needed to describe that, but like they did, and it was better for it. And then little things about like there's 2 holes, we've got a firecracker on our hands. Like they just like they tapped into exactly how like teenage boys see things like that, and it's fantastic. This is a sketch made completely by women that somehow is so perfectly accurate. And I really, really loved this. Kate and Aidy duo, I'll take it any day of the week. All right, well, up next, the iceberg that sank the Titanic is here to set the story straight. Oh my God. Yo, Titanic's my favorite movie. It's been my favorite movie since I was 7 years old. I never got
Yes.
over it.
Yes.
As soon as Colin did a Titanic setup, I was here for this.
Mhm.
So Maria, what did you like about it?
Yeah, I mean, like, first of all, I'm, like, resonating with everything you're saying right now. All I saw in the title was the iceberg, and I was like, "It's April. This is gonna be Titanic themed." Like, I
Yep.
just didn't need to know anymore. It was everything I hoped it would be and more. I couldn't have imagined a better performance. Everything from bringing up the water, just getting his ass knocked off, and that being his best feature. Just like it was a complete, in my opinion, a completely faultless bit. I absolutely loved it. The song at the end rounded it all off beautifully. Explained the diamante studded blazer, and because you're like, why is he so glamorous? Like, what is this going to lead to? It was just perfect. What, like, I didn't know I needed this extra information about Titanic until I saw this.
Right. The only thing this was missing was a mention of the faulty rivets on the ship, which is what's really to blame.
Yeah,
it's in the Snyder Cut.
Yeah. But no, this was perfect. Bowen, I mean, wow, he just performed the heck out of it. I thought it was such a great idea. The costume was amazing. Bowen had a little bit of blue on his face going into the next sketch. But yeah, I loved this. For the iceberg to play the victim, it just gives you so many places to go, and they somehow managed to hit all of them. And then added in he's a musician.
Yeah.
Which is so out of left field and so great. And of course the song's like bad.
Yeah.
Which just makes it all the better. I loved absolutely every single thing about this, including the very solid points that he was making. And I will shift my rage to the water now.
Yeah. I'd go as far to say as the next time I watch Titanic, it will be different. Like, because of the
I think
sketch.
you're right.
Like, I don't think I will ever be able to watch that iceberg. Like when they're on the ship and they're like, iceberg straight ahead.
I'm just gonna see Bowen Yang's face under the water,
like bobbing up in the water. Naughty water.
I smell a fan edit coming.
A cultural impact for the ages. Yeah. Steve, did you feel as enthused as we did?
Yeah, for sure. I was part of the Titanic mania from 1997. And none of us have been the same since. Mm-hmm. I just want this whole piece to be an example of just taking a chance on the weirdest ideas you have. Like, when you feel like you have writer's block, maybe it's not that you have writer's block, but you're just not giving the weird stuff that comes to your mind a chance. Because I'm sure there's lots of people that say, oh, what if I did a sketch that was the personification of a iceberg, but not just any iceberg, the one that hit the Titanic, and maybe he's got like, you might think you're a crazy person just for thinking that. No, let's go write a game show sketch. But yeah, like Bowen is comfortable enough with his weirdness and his different way of thinking to actually entertain this thought and come up with so much material from such like a from left field idea. And like, not only did we get all the perspective of the iceberg, but like all the randomness of him becoming a musician and singing a song at the end. Like the just the structure of this piece is so it's like a tornado. It's like a shipwreck. But yeah, this was, I think, the best piece of brilliance of the night.
Yeah, a tornado is a good way to put it, and Bowen brought all of the energy to make that tornado work.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't actually have anything more to say about it, but I just
No.
loved it so much. Like I wish we could talk about it for another hour.
I think it's also another really classic example of, like what you were saying, Steve, that you can really write and do anything, and if you're enjoying it as well while you're doing it, then everybody else is going to be in there with you. And so, not only did he write an amazing bit, but he just performed it in such a great way that you were just like, I want that album. It doesn't exist, but I want that Iceberg's album.
Yeah.
I hope
12 tracks, no skips. Like,
yeah. Music.
I would buy that.
Where can I find it?
If you want to see our full sketch by sketch review, search for SNL Afterparty on Patreon or subscribestar.com. And that is the end of our rundown. So we have to get into our overall thoughts. Up first is Moment of the Night. Maria, what is your moment?
It's the Iceberg, hands down.
Him coming out, like the reveal of the iceberg?
Yeah, just that whole moment. It could, in fact, just be his line saying the water, which is just stuck with me. But yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I'm going to go with Keenan's line in the IBS commercial.
You just lit up the toilet. You just lit the whole damn thing up.
Oh, man. The phrase lit up the toilet is funny. And then combined with saying it turlet is icing on the cake. So that's definitely my moment. Steve?
There's been so many moments, when it comes to, moments that are good for picking at this part of the podcast, this episode is chock full of them. So it's a really hard choice. I would say I'd have to give it to the grandmother picking up the flute, going immediately from one reaction to another completely unrelated action. Like that was so unexpected. And it was a great moment that was just created by editing and a strange juxtaposition of performance. It was a very, very surreal moment. And it sticks with you. So I think that's what constitutes a good moment. I think that's a good one to go with.
Fair enough. Up next is Best Sketch. I think I know what Maria's is, but go ahead and tell us.
Well, I actually, when I was thinking, I didn't know that the iceberg counted as a sketch. So obviously, the iceberg is 100% was my favorite part of the show, but I had my favorite sketch down as Study Buddy because I also just love those two teenage boys.
Fair enough. Both were, I think, some very strong points of the show. Yeah. For me, the best sketch is there were three strong contenders in my book, which was the IBS commercial, the iceberg, and the lesbian period drama. And I'm torn. I still don't know which to choose. I think I'm tempted to go IBS because it was so funny and like so shareable and I love it, but I think just because of my love of Titanic, I got to give it to Iceberg. Iceberg gets the edge there. It was so unexpected and so good. So the Iceberg, the Saints, Titanic, sketch of the night for me. Steve, what's yours?
Sounds like the Iceberg's getting a lot of praise. I've always felt weird about giving a weekend update bit sketch of the night. Just because, it's not fully a sketch. Like there's not as many fully, but like, sure, it's a written piece. There's dialogue, but like, the set design doesn't have to do much. It's not a full sketch. You can't judge it on as many parameters. So I never really felt it was fair to give it to those. Although if I were to break my own rule, I think the Iceberg bit is probably some of the best of the show. But traditional sketch wise, I am going to give it to Study Buddy because that was the most fun. It was, it was probably some of the best performance of the night. I loved seeing Kate do something so new. And 82, like we've seen them be goofy, but this is like a whole different tool set that they're going for with these characters. And just the delivery, the choice of words, just that kind of military, that jokey military kind of behavior that young boys do, like, yes, sir, hello, third, and all that fake properness, that's, just for being such a real sketch, I think this deserves it.
Fair enough. Let's talk about our MVP. Maria, who is it?
Mine is Chris Red. Yeah, it was like he didn't have major parts in anything, but the small bits he had just stood out for me so much. I just loved it. Yeah, definitely him.
I agree. Chris Red stole the scene in every single thing he was in, and debuted a really good Obama impression.
Yeah.
He brings such a great energy to everything. And I just love seeing him every time he's on screen. And tonight he was in a decent bit of stuff, and I felt just, stole the scene.
Yeah.
Steve, who's yours?
Timothy Chalamet, for sure. The weight of this episode was carried on his shoulders. But my honest choice would be 80 Bryant. I thought she deserved it. In the 10-1, she was amazing. In Study Buddies, she was amazing. She was all over this episode, and everything that I saw her in that she was in, she was amazing.
Yeah.
Fair enough. She did definitely have some really strong roles and carried a lot of sketches.
Yeah,
she did.
Let's talk about the big one. On a scale of classic, great, decent, weak, or train wreck, Maria, how would you rate this episode?
I've rated this great. It was and that is also based on just consistency, like on a scale of things. There wasn't anything that was noticeably worse or better apart from the Iceberg. That was just like incredible. But it was so much fun to watch. And I also feel like I've watched quite a few of the sketches like 2 or 3 times now, and I can see myself going back and watching them. The hosiery little leg move is gonna stick with me, so there's some like iconic bits there, and I'm so happy that I got to talk about this one as well, because I just felt like so many of the sketches were like there for me to talk about. Yeah. Coming out of last night, I was thinking decent. But on the rewatch, I was feeling much better about it. I think the first half of the show especially was really, really strong. And I think ultimately I had a hard time picking my best sketch. I thought there were 3 really standout breakout sketches here. And I think it's hard to argue when you feel that way for it to not be a great. Because I think all of those have the potential to really be a cultural moment where people tune in and they want to see these sketches. So I think there's a lot of good stuff in here. And the things that I didn't like as much still worked. So yeah, I'm gonna side on a great. Steve, what do you think?
I'm also a line jumper from earlier to now, because like I said earlier, it was a very bipolar episode. We got some very weird stuff over here. We got some very normal stuff over here. So I was thinking, that must average out to a normal or a decent, whatever we call it. But hey, normal doesn't necessarily mean bad, right? It just means it's more approachable. It's just a little bit, easier to swallow. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I love the weird stuff. And I didn't necessarily hate the normal stuff. Like, yeah, I played it safe and was probably not the most inspired, but it was still serviceable.
Mhm.
So there was nothing bad. There was some okay stuff and there was some really great stuff. So I think the show deserves a great this time around.
Very good. So
that's 3.
feeling
Great
good about
picks.
this episode. A unanimous great going into a little bit of a hiatus. And yeah, Maria, thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh, thanks for having me. I'm honestly like so happy to be able to do this. Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
It was a lot of fun getting the perspective from across the pond.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
interesting.
And everybody told me you were in the UK or from the UK, which I guess isn't a lie, but you're from New Zealand originally.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Because
Yeah.
I was hearing your accent when we met and I was like, okay, that's not quite British.
I told her
No.
no one was going to pick up on the accent difference, so you made me a liar. I was like, I don't think anybody over here knows the difference. All right. Well, Maria, I know you have a very cool project you've been working on called Fake Blood. Do you want to give us a quick little pitch on that? What's
Yeah.
your next steps? What to look out for?
Yeah, just quickly about it. It's a short documentary called Fake Blood, like you said. It's about period positivity, so about coming off the pill and reconnecting with menstruation in a more positive way. We are filming at the moment, so we've filmed sort of the first part. We're getting a little more funding in now to film the second part, but it's mainly to start the conversation. It started, but we want to carry it on. We want to get it out there even further. So you can find information about it on my Instagram, and there are links and things on there if you want to read any more.
Well, I know the shoot that y'all did do was very interesting, and I'm so excited to see how it comes together visually within the film, because I know your husband Harry, and he talked about it a lot leading up to it. So I'm very excited to see this project pan out.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
Thanks.
everybody stay tuned on that. As far as me, what I have going on the hiatus is a couple sketch shows. So I have my first show. I just got onto a team with Boogie Manja Sketch Collective, which is, I think, might be at this point New York's only surviving collective of sketch teams. But I'm on there. My team's called Wilburn. We have a show April 23rd. You can catch it on twitch.tv/Boogie-Manja. I think it starts at 9. And then the week after that on Wednesday is a show with my team Separate Beds on twitch.tv/Lit Comedy. And I have a sketch in there about Titanic. So it's on the brain. Everybody tune in.
Sweet.
Steve, you got some schoolwork to do?
Yeah, nothing fun to throw out at all y'all because I'm working on myself right now. I'm taking a me month.
That is most important.
Yeah.
That's just how I do it right now.
We're gonna come out of this with the best Steve.
Or a Steve,
All right.
you'll get something.
All right, well, that's a wrap. Thanks to Steve Finn and Maria Webb. And thanks as well to our most generous patrons, Sam Bowers, Neil Weinstein, Justin Gardner, Carissa Eubank, Grace Kogan, and Brian Clark. If you're enjoying our show, please subscribe on YouTube or wherever better podcasts can be found. Your subscription helps us grow, and your support is greatly appreciated. We'll be back in May when SNL returns for its finale run. But until then, this has been episode number 134 of the Saturday Night Live Afterparty podcast. I'm Catherine Coleman. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.